Good evening, happy quarantine, everyone. I want to help you. If you don't make bread on your own, like you can do it with just a ratio in your head: 5 parts flour, 3 parts water, 5-3. All you have to remember. So flour, you need a scale, and some water. 2% yeast and 3% salt. So it's easier to do with a scale, do the percentages, but it's again quick, easy. You don't have to get into like the subtle nuances of how much water is in the oven, or it's just the basic. And you're gonna retard it overnight. It's just gonna slow down the primary fermentation of the dough, and it's gonna give it time the yeast to eat quietly and slowly, which will develop a shitload more flavor. That's right, I use the word shitload. I'll walk you through the process, and what'll happen is it'll sit overnight in the oven, and what'll happen is it'll sit overnight in the refrigerator, and then in the morning, we'll shape it, bake it, it'll be good. And then after that, if you like baking bread, then you can go into the other stuff and get more complicated and more nuanced.
So we need 2 kilos total of flour for this recipe. 2 kilos. So there's already a kilo bag weight, so I'm not going to take that out of the bag. And then I want 500 more of white flour, plain flour, and 500 of wholemeal. Then 3% yeast with the scale onto the baker's percentage of the flour, which is the 2 kilos. Same with that percentage of salt on the 2 kilos. I'm going to add water first. I don't show it here, but I'm going to add yeast directly after into the water. Then the flour, all 3 pots. You can see you're just leaving it in the bag. It's already weighed. It's perfect. You don't have to weigh it again. Then at the end, salt. Mix for about 10 minutes on medium speed until it passes the window pane test, which is, I didn't demonstrate, which I really should have. So it's a nice smooth dough pulling away from the sides. If you stretch it between your 2 thumbs, you can actually see through it. You can see light pass through it. That's the window pane test. Hugely important. It means your dough is ready to be, ready to go into the first fermentation, which is that.
This is the dough I made last night, and we put it in the refrigerator. We retarded it. It didn't affect its mental capacities at all. We just slowed down the rate at which the yeast ate the dough. You see that membranous kind of thing? That's exactly what we want. That's going to give us really nice bubbles. It's going to be a nice, tasty dough. So I'm letting it kind of warm up and come to room temperature, and then I'll shape it. A simple shape that you can do at home without any extra things. And then we'll let that do its secondary fermentation, and we will bake it.
Turn your dough out onto the floured workbench, then kind of flip it, pat it flat, then cut it into quarters, and then each one of those is going to turn into a kind of a baguette shape using this method, which I will go into a little more detail in the next frame. You take your flattened piece, you kind of roll it back, letting air get stuck in between that pocket, and then you use the heel of your palm just to seal the edge and not crush that nice round part where it's holding all that nice air. Keep doing that until you're finished, and then just check the seam a little bit, check the ends, pull the ends out kind of all the way, and make sure they're sealed, and just get a nice good baguette type shape. Brush with a little bit of water so that the flour that you're sprinkling on sticks, and there you're ready.
Score the loaves, that way they can kind of explode out as the hot air heats up the cold air that's inside the bubble. So you can go straight down if you want, or you can kind of do a little like whatever pattern that you like, really. It doesn't matter, it all does the same thing. And then I'm going to put these into an oven 200 degrees, which is 400 degrees in Fahrenheit. And we're going to cook it. We can use the probe as well. Like we can cook it to 90 degrees Celsius, which is the same for like cakes. It's just when a crumb sets and it's just done. After that, to cook it longer, you're just evaporating all the water out of it. The crumb is set and cooked. So we can. I'll do a little video, show you how it rises in the oven. Go from there. What do you think, Abby? How's it going?
Amazing.
I haven't been that funny lately.
Yeah. It's not to be funny about.
Yeah. There's nothing really to go on about, huh? kind of a long trip.
Similar to cooking proteins, as in steaks or fish, you have to let the product rest when it comes out of the oven or out of the pan. If you cut into it straight away, it gets this like weird gummy texture, super hot. It doesn't really
Have really simple bread to make out of your head. There's bread is a lot more complicated than this. There's so many other techniques and kind of finesse things to do. You can learn that, but kind of work your way up to it. Just do the simple fun stuff where it's nice and easy and quick, and then you can work your way up to how much water is in the oven. Do you want to do it in a cast iron skillet with a lid or a Dutch oven? There's so many different things to do to tweak it, but I recommend starting right here. It's fast, it's easy. And I'd like to also thank our sponsor. Again, this episode is brought to you by Rude Boy, enhanced spirit with horny goatweed, ginseng, and taurine, as well as caffeine. It's a good night out on old Rude Boy. I can't recommend it enough. Thank you.
All right, book recommendation time. Peter Reinhardt's classic, Bread Baker's Apprentice, will get anyone off to a really good start. Amazing recipes, amazing concepts, techniques, science. Can't recommend it enough. Great guy that gave me advice on sourdough about 7 years ago. Gracious gentleman. The second book is Tartine Bread. It's an awesome bakery that I was reading the cookbooks before I got a chance to go to their bakery in San Francisco. Incredible bakery. Great book, great story. The last book is Ratio, full of all kinds of cool codes to remember how to cook out of your head. Amazing. That's where I got 5-3 from. Michael Rhulman, absolute legend. Love that book. Highly recommend it to anyone and everyone.